Hello everyone, it's day three. Day three. I can hardly believe we're at day three. I'm actually really excited and I've so enjoyed this. It's been great fun. So if you don't know me, if you haven't watched the two videos before, which are still available, and I really urge you to do that, my name is Kelly and I'm from spiritualawakeningsigns.com, and I'm helping people to move through their spiritual awakening a bit more easily, because like I always say with a little giggle, it's not that easy. It can be really, really challenging, so I'm here to help you with that. And today's the third and final day of Transform Your Awakening with Grounding, so that's the focus that we've had over this 3-day period. Hi Melanie, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. So yeah, this is a really common theme for us, is just ungrounding in general, but today the focus is going to be on when grounding doesn't work and why it doesn't work, because it's a very common theme for us, and I'm always amazed that there's not more information out there on it, because when I went through it, grounding was practically impossible, and most of the things that I tried, like we've discussed in the first two lessons, either didn't work or made the problem worse. They charged me even more, and I'm finding that a lot with my clients and with you guys with the feedback that we're getting. So just fine-tuning this process to make it much easier for you to learn the do's and the don'ts. So don't miss those first two videos. They are vital to moving forward and understanding everything that we're covering today. So like I said, today's going to be about when grounding doesn't work and why, and we're also going to have a live Q&A at the end, so you can ask all your questions, whether it's about spiritual awakening, it's about grounding, or even about the course. You're welcome to ask any of them. I know a few people have questions about the course, which I will get to at the Q&A at the end. It is available for the pre-order pricing just now, so that's like a special discount we're doing, but it's a discounted rate that's only available till midnight tonight. So if you're like Eastern time, that's actually like 8 PM, because I'm going to bed. You know, this has been a busy 3 days for me, so it'll be a little bit earlier for you guys, just so you're aware of that. And then the course starts Monday. Right, so I think it's important that we make sure we do a little recap and just go over everything that we've learned, so that we've got a good solid knowledge of everything that we've covered in this course. So let's just have a little recap and start to make those shifts in our minds. Remember, I was talking about creating a picture and making those shifts in your minds, because when your mind can understand the process, it's much easier for your brain to catch up, and it smooths things out. That's what conquers all this confusion and that sense that you're lost and you don't know where to go or what to do. You need to allow your mind to have that conscious kind of that cognitive shift where it understands what's happening. Okay, so what we know from everything that we've covered in these last 2 days, what we definitely know is that spiritual awakening is in itself a naturally ungrounding experience. Okay, spiritual awakening is ungrounding, and there's a reason. Okay, so when you go into a spiritual awakening and when your system starts to open up, your energy gets charged, so that's number one. Your psychic senses get opened, and then your emotions get triggered. Okay, so these three things are all happening. These are on purpose. These things happen on purpose. So your energy gets charged, your psychic senses get opened, and your emotions get triggered on purpose. Okay, and it's all for the purpose of clearing and healing and releasing all that old pain and healing on a soul level, so that you are a completely clear channel to source. So right up through the center, like I was talking about, this Kundalini energy that takes you right up, that's your connection to source, to creator, to universal intelligence, to your guides. And if you want to have that connection to be really clear and really pure, and you want to channel that wisdom into the world in whatever way is right for you and why you're here, then you need to be clear. And that's why these emotions are getting triggered to be healed, and that's why your psychic senses are so intensely heightened, because we're trying to clear all this to get nice and clear, and that's that connection to source. So it's all happening on purpose. Okay, doesn't mean it has to be hard, which is the key in this course, but it's all happening for a purpose. Your energy is already extremely ungrounded, so the minute that awakening happens, your energy completely changes, and it's not going to change back. Okay, it's changed for a reason. It will calm down, but you're altered forever. You know it's a transformational process, and you can feel it in your heart. You know that it's different. So that energy is completely going to change. So you're already extremely ungrounded. You're already opened to extreme levels for that purpose, for getting you back to that clear connection and being completely healed, being completely authentic in yourself without all that extra baggage. So any additional things that charge your energy, stimulate your kundalini, or alter your psychic or energetic state are going to make you more ungrounded. So that's what we were covering yesterday. So if you missed that video, that is one not to miss, because I'm still getting emails. I was replying to emails right before this video where people are saying, I'm doing yoga and I'm doing meditation and I'm using crystals and it's not getting any better. I feel worse. And I'm saying, watch the video, because that's really, really important. These things will unground you. Okay, so it's important that you know that. So just as a reminder, anything that you do that charges your energy, stimulates the kundalini, or alters your psychic or energetic state is going to make you more ungrounded. So really, I need to bring out a little list for you guys so that you can really understand that. But we're talking things like spiritual practices, energetic practices, anything that alters your state, like crystals, incense, sage, oils. You need to be really, really careful with all these things, because they are going to supercharge your energy and you're not going to feel good as a result. So what I want to do is make sure we're going into this list of what it looks like when you are ungrounded. So for the average person, being ungrounded is not that big a deal. Being a little bit ungrounded, I think I was always a little bit ski-whiff before I had my spiritual awakening. I was always probably a little bit ungrounded. But when you go into spiritual awakening, it's an entirely different level of ungroundedness. And almost all of the symptoms that you get as a result of awakening, you know, everyone talks about ascension symptoms. Well, these are all really results of being ungrounded. You're still supposed to have them to some level, but not in a sense that it's out of control and making life really hard and making the experience really challenging. So let's cover some of those. So if you remain ungrounded, okay, if you are ungrounded, you're going to feel spacey, you'll feel disconnected, you might feel dizzy, you'll know you're ungrounded because you'll have that strange sensation. You might also feel imbalanced in yourself, so you just know that something's off and you know that something doesn't feel right in your body or in your energy, but you just don't quite know what. You'll also find that normal daily life just feels like a total burden. So that's where we get into that space where we just can't handle work anymore. We can't handle the kids. We can't handle being around friends because the things they're talking about are driving us crazy and they're too superficial. And these are all the themes that people talk about as part of ascension. They're actually part of being ungrounded. If you weren't so ungrounded, you'd be able to tolerate them and you'd still have a level of comfortability around it. But when you're ungrounded, it's completely intolerable. So if you're in a position right now where you're finding life completely unmanageable and you're finding this awakening is overpowering every aspect of your life in a negative way, then you're ungrounded. That should be your main signal that you know something's out of alignment here. The other thing that you'll find ungroundedness makes you is emotional issues. The triggering is really bad when you're ungrounded. So if you're in a state where your emotional issues are rising up often and they're quite uncontrollable, or they're extremely intense and you don't know why. So sometimes they're triggered by a real life event and sometimes it's just a feeling that comes on like that. So for me, sometimes there was a remembrance of something that happened when I was a kid or something from a past life. But I also went through a state where just all of a sudden I would get heart pain and it would hurt for 3 hours and I'd be in agony. I'd be like, it really burns, it really hurts and I can't get rid of this. And I didn't know why. And if I had been more grounded, it would have been okay. But what I did was, in my wisdom, I decided to heal it. So I would go back in and do more energy healing. And it would go away for half an hour and then it would come back even stronger. And it was affecting my life in that I was uncomfortable sitting talking to people. It was like when you've got an illness or an ache or a pain, you're uncomfortable sitting with it. So I didn't realise that the energy healing was triggering it further, making it come up faster, making it come up more intense. So just something to be really aware of. If those emotions are out of alignment, if you can't stay relatively stable throughout the day, then you're really ungrounded and you need to get a handle on that, or these emotions, they're just going to keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. And that's when awakening is hellish rather than a really beautiful transformational experience. We want to get a handle on that. Another thing that you'll find if you're ungrounded is that your sensitivities are going to be really intensified. So your sensitivity, you'll have emotional sensitivity, like I've just spoken about, where things are really heightened. You'll find that your psychic, what would you call that? Your sensitivity is too heightened. So you'll pick up on other people's stuff, and you'll pick up on imprints and icky feelings from other things that you touch or that you're in the vicinity of, rooms, places, land. You're going to be heightened to everything, and it's too much to read that amount of information. So when you're in that really sensitive state where you're picking up too much, not only do you get left with carrying other people's stuff, but you also end up in a space where you're so sensitive that you're feeling everything too strongly, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it. It's just going to stay with you until it decides to leave. So you're completely out of your power, and that's not a good space to be in. Okay, let's see what else. Your brain won't be able to process or rationalise the experience. And this is a really important one that I try to explain to people, because absolutely everybody asks me, what is my life purpose? How can I get on my life purpose? When will I get on my life purpose? And I totally understand how you feel, because I went through it. And there can be a sense of depression when you're waiting for that life purpose to shine down upon you and for you to know what it is and for you to embark on it. But if you're in a space where you are ungrounded, A, you're not going to know what it is, because Spirit will not give it to you because you're not ready. And B, even if you did know it, you wouldn't be in a space where you could actually do anything about it, because you can't actually take any action in the physical world. So think about that from Spirit's perspective. So they're looking at you and you're swirling around in this tornado of crazy, with all these crazy energies moving, and you can't stay grounded. Your emotions are coming up, your sensitivities are really high, and they're looking down at you and saying, she's not ready yet. They're not ready to take that yet. They can't hold this energy. They'll fall apart. It's too much. So the universe knows if you're ready or not. So you need to make yourself ready. You need to put yourself in that space where you're grounded, so that they can give you that information of who you're meant to be, what you chose to come here to do, what you want to do to be fulfilled in this life. It's not going to come to the right time, because you're not in a position to do something about it in a healthy, balanced, sustainable way. It's got to be the right time. So the best way to make this process easier, like I said in yesterday's video, is actually prevention rather than cure. So it's absolutely fine to use grounding methods, and I would say if you're going to use any, use the ones that we talked about in the video yesterday, because I can guarantee that they're safe, and I can guarantee that they're not going to unground you as a result of doing them. I can't guarantee that with other things. Okay, so if you're going into different spiritual practices and energy healing and all these other things, there's nothing else that I can really guarantee for sure. Okay, there will be things that come in future, but certainly what I covered yesterday in the video is safe to use. Okay, so things like tea tree oil, food, meat, particularly fatty meals, can be quite grounding as well, because they're really dense. Connection to other people, the video that comes free as part of the course, the one that you can preview just now, things like that are all fine to use for grounding. But if I had to tell you the best way to ground yourself, I would say prevention rather than cure. Don't get involved in it and do something that's going to blast your energies wide open, that you have to try and heal afterwards to come back down and feel better. Just maintain it constantly, so that you're always on an even keel, you're always balanced, and you've got control of the situation. Because when you get to that space where you're extremely overcharged, nothing really but time can discharge that energy. So you can use some of the oils like tea tree oil, and you can use some of those other methods like having a good meal and trying to ground yourself that way. but nothing works as well as abstinence from things that overcharge you in the first place. It is like putting a phone charger in a little plug socket and leaving it, you know, it's not attached to anything, it's not charging anything, it's just charging you. You're supposed to be putting that into something else, and if that's got nowhere else to go because you're not ready, you're going to feel awful. So trust me on that one, and just focus on prevention rather than cure. Abstinence from things that are going to overcharge you or alter your state just for now. And when you get to that space where you feel better, because you will, when you get to that space where you say, do you know, things are getting a little bit better. I feel okay every day, and I feel like I can get a handle on this and things are all right. And there must be someone in this video who was here yesterday, because I'm getting a throat squeak again. So hopefully it'll just come and go, but I'm aware of it. So someone's got throat issues that really need to be dealt with. It's a big thing that's going on. That's important that that's mentioned. Okay, have we got that? Is that making sense to everyone? I hope I didn't rush through that too quickly, but I just wanted to make sure that we had an overview so that we can understand the process that these things are coming through, the stages of the way things are working, and why they're doing what they're doing to you. Okay, so that's the structure that we've got to hold on to, and that alone will help you to make those cognitive shifts and help your brain to catch up with this process. Okay, so now what we're going to cover is when grounding doesn't work. Okay, because truthfully, for us going through spiritual awakening, 9 times out of 10, grounding doesn't actually work. So we can put things in place and we can try different things, but the reason why there isn't a big long list of things that I can guarantee ground you is because grounding for us is extremely hard, because our energies have been altered. Now, like we said before, they've been altered for a positive purpose, but it can be really hard to put that grounding in place because it's happening on a level higher than what we are currently working at. It's not happening on the physical level, it's happening on the spiritual level. Okay, so there are 4 kind of main reasons why grounding doesn't actually work for us, okay, if you're going through spiritual awakening. And I'm going to go through them so that you can get an understanding, and I can guarantee that you'll resonate with some of the stuff that we're talking about and see the little links there. Okay, so the first reason why grounding doesn't work at all, sometimes for us, is that your soul doesn't actually know how. Okay, there could be 2 main reasons why your soul doesn't actually know how to ground your energies. So either you come from a soul level where, how can I describe this? You maybe haven't ever actually incarnated as a physical human before, or you haven't incarnated on Earth very often. So that can be a challenge, because actually we don't understand human interaction. We don't understand the dense energy and dense vibration of Earth. And if you've come from somewhere where you've not had much of that experience, it can be like throwing someone into the deep end without armbands on. There's not a soul understanding of how this all works and how to keep yourself in your body and how to stay present here. It's like there's a little lesson missing because you never had to know that. And that's happening quite a lot with a lot of the new light workers that are coming in, because they're being called in from different vibrations in different areas, and we're all doing our own thing, but a lot of people are coming in and it's like, I just don't get it here. I just don't understand this. And that can be really challenging for people. So there is a sense that your soul doesn't even know what grounding is, never mind how to actually do it. Okay, so that's the first challenge. The other one is that your soul once knew how, but has kind of forgotten over time. So there's a chance that you've lost your sense of grounding over the lifetimes, because sometimes we're moving through different dimensions, we're moving through different levels. There's a lot of crazy things going on for us that we don't remember right now. And sometimes when you come into a space like this, you used to be grounded in other lifetimes, but for some reason in this one it's just like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to anchor into these new energies, because the energy of Earth is really changing, and it can be hard for your soul to make sense of this whole thing. Okay, so they're 2 of the first things. Another reason why grounding is practically impossible is quite often your soul doesn't actually want to be here. And I know that a lot of you really resonate with that thought. There is an underlying feeling that your soul doesn't want to be here, and this is a really common one. So it's that underlying feeling of not belonging, or wishing that you hadn't come to be incarnated at all. And I know that I felt that way, and I see it a lot in my clients when I'm doing one-to-ones. It's that sense of, I just want to go home. I've had enough. I don't really want to be here. Why did I make myself come here? Or who forced me to come here? And it's all just confusion around it. And because there's that sense of, I don't really want to be here, that needs to be cleared. Because what happens is, it means that your soul doesn't fully rest in the physical body. It's like, I don't want to be here, so I'm not going to plunge myself right into that body just in case I can't get back out. And that's the kind of mentality we're working with. It's like, I don't want to make myself fully present here and be stuck, because there is a real karmic energy to Earth, and a lot of people have been stuck in this karmic loop. It can be hard to get out of. So that can be a real challenge, and it needs to be cleared on the spiritual level to be able to get out. Let's see. What else? Yeah, so that longing to go home is the thing that stops you from fully being here and stops you from fully integrating in your physical body. Okay. Another reason why grounding is practically impossible for us, and it doesn't work, is that your soul quite often thinks that being ungrounded is the best way to connect spiritually. So this is a little bit of confusion. So it's the concept that if you're up there, you're connected spiritually, but if you're down here, you're not. And that's where the idea of duality comes in. You know, it's like two halves, heaven and earth. And this is what I mean by we're bridging these. That's really just an illusion. But that concept can make you feel that, you know, you're not able to be spiritually connected and stay spiritually connected if you come down here. So a lot of healers and a lot of psychics have that belief, and it's not true. And you can clear it, it can be cleared. But in fact, that's exactly why you're going through this process of awakening. So it's to be able to discover that you can stay grounded and still have that spiritual connection. So this is what I mean by bridging both worlds. It's learning to discover how to actually be present and be focused and be here in the physical, but still be entirely connected to the higher world and the higher realms. Which is completely possible. Your soul doesn't have to leave its body to be able to be closer to God or to Source or to other dimensions at all. These things all exist on one level essentially. We just have the illusion that they're all different places. So that can be cleared. And lastly, the last reason that it's almost impossible to be grounded is that your psychic senses are imbalanced. So absolutely, Anne, in the world but not of it. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will be raising their hands saying, I can relate. Yeah, so your psychic senses are imbalanced. So you need to remember that you've most likely come through lifetimes where you've been a healer, a psychic, or something of that nature before. You don't come into this life and go through spiritual awakening having never been on a spiritual or spiritually guided path. Okay, it's not just a 1 in a million chance. It's something that was focused, and it's something that was meant. So you have been healers, psychics, seers, leaders. You've done all these things before. So the challenge with that is that you've come through lifetimes where your psychic senses have been extremely open. Okay, they've been at their fullest capacity because there was no reason not to have them at their fullest capacity. And when that's happened, quite often, like you'll know, we have come through lifetimes where we've been told we were witches, we've been burned at the stake, we've been exiled, we've been killed, we've been tortured. All these awful things have happened to healers and psychics and guides throughout the years, throughout lifetimes, and we're still carrying a lot of that pain with us. So the challenge with that is that you've had lifetimes where you've been completely open, and then if you've had something awful happen to you as a result of that, then you've had lifetimes, maybe this one or other ones, where you've completely shut your psychic abilities down. So that is a reason why if you've come into awakening and all of a sudden you've gone from having almost no intuition to lots, that's because you've completely closed it down. It's not that you didn't have the ability, you just closed it down to keep yourself safe. So this makes your system a little bit unsure about whether it should be open Should it be closed? Should it be in the middle? It's like a sense of, I don't really know how open I should be psychically. And, you know, is it safe? Is it dangerous? The soul just doesn't know how open to be. And it creates a kind of conflict on the soul level, because there's a confusion that it's like they don't know what to do. It's like, well, we were really open that time and then we got killed. And then we were really closed that time and then we couldn't find our way. It didn't work out the way it was meant to work out. So there's just a lot of confusion under there that needs to be cleared. And it can make you feel, it can make your psychic senses feel a little bit erratic and out of control, because they're changing all the time and they don't know what to do. And it's just the result of past pain. Okay? So I hope that makes sense from what I've explained, because we've gone a good bit deeper here. So just to run over those, so the 4 main reasons why grounding won't work is because your soul literally doesn't know how. So you might be from a different level where grounding was never needed. You've never been on the physical level before, or you've not been here much, and the energies of Earth have completely changed. Second reason is your soul doesn't want to be here. So you've got a sense of not belonging, not wanting to be here, wanting to go home, wanting to go back to your family or your other home that you know is out there somewhere, but you might not know where. That stops you as well. Third one, your soul thinks that being ungrounded is the only way to connect spiritually, which it's not. Okay, you don't need to be out of your body to have spiritual alignment, spiritual connection, spiritual sight, because I'm in my body and I'm doing it. So hopefully I'm living proof. And lastly, your psychic senses are imbalanced. So like I said, you've been through pain, you've been through trauma where your psychic senses were opened, so you've closed them down. You've had all these traumatic lifetimes, and it just makes it so confusing for your senses to know exactly what to do in that case. So it's really, really hard. I can see Rashawn saying you've experienced all 4. Yeah, I definitely think you probably have. And it's common. This isn't an unusual thing. It's really, really common. But until you have that explanation of understanding why it is that way, it's hard to see a way out, because you just keep trying to ground yourself with stuff that doesn't work. So that's important for you to know. So they're the main difficulties that you get in grounding, and they were the main reason for me creating the course, the Grounded Awakenings course, because so many people are going through that. So it's a if you haven't looked at it yet, it's a series of energy healing downloads. It's energy healing videos to clear, to heal, to move all these issues out of the way, so that your energy knows how to be grounded and it can actually sustain it. So we've already taught you the physical grounding techniques. So that's what we've covered in the last 3 days. But this is the side of things where we're addressing it on a soul level, on a spiritual level, where the problem's starting, and maybe where some of these 4 issues that are difficult to move past. If there's nowhere else for you to go and nothing else that you can do, this is a safe way for you to resolve some of that. Let's see. Yeah, you might actually find that the grounding that you've learned over the last couple of days is enough. So if it's enough, then that's absolutely fine. That might be enough for you to just keep yourself steady on the course. But if you're finding that you're out of control and it's really hard, or you're resonating with the 4 issues that we've just talked about, which you might not consciously know, you might just have a feeling, then it might just be the right thing. It might just be a fit for you. If you're having a really rough time, it means that you probably need some energetic downloads just to solidify that, to reteach your system, to heal some of those issues and to resolve them, so that your energy can come fully into your body and you can stay spiritually connected at the same time. It just needs a little bit of guidance. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the benefits of that, so that you can see the difference that you can actually make. Because if you're stuck with any one of those 4 issues, there's not really that many other options for you to be able to clear it. You really need some intervention on a spiritual level to change and disconnect some of those old programs. Otherwise, it's got nowhere else to go. You'll just stay chronically ungrounded, especially if physical grounding methods don't work. So this is how I know, because that's the position I was in. I came from a point where my awakening was completely out of control, and I was trying all these grounded methods and nothing was working. Nothing. And I did go through a real extreme version of it. So if you signed up to the free course, the email course, it's a 5-day course, you'll see that I tell you in it that at one point I was so ungrounded and so afraid that I was going to leave my body that I was sitting at the table with my fingers under the table, pressing my hands against it so that I felt like I wouldn't float away. It was the most incredible feeling. And I know that a lot of people in that crisis position know what I'm talking about. It's a sense of being so ungrounded that you think, I don't know if anyone can save me from this. This is really scary. So sometimes you just need that higher intervention to bring you back into your body and into your space and kind of intervene for you to be the middleman. So if you haven't actually had a session with me before and you're not familiar with what it is that I actually do, I'm an intuitive healer. So when I'm working, I'm connecting to creator of all that is, higher intelligence, universal source, whatever it is you want to actually connect it, call that energy. And it's the highest, it's the purest, it's the safest vibrational energy you can possibly get. It's really, really clear. And it's on that level of pure creative force, I suppose you could call it, that healing can be done and changes can be made, and that can be done with downloads because we're working in the soul level, okay? These are things that are going to support your awakening and make it much easier. So a download is a teaching. A download is an understanding or a definition that is sent to you energetically. So it's a little bit like if you were to put a program into a computer to make the computer run better. We can download programs into your soul to make your energy run better. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. So for example, I could teach you what grounding is, what it means, what it feels like, and send that into every single cell of your physical body. And not only is it going to connect you to that energy and train your energy into that space, but it's also going to make you receptive to it through the law of attraction. So, you know, we talk about what's in your field is what gets attracted to you, like attracts like. So if we bring that into your field and we download different things into your field, you can then be receptive to them in your physical life, and you can attract them into your space and your energy. It can actually change that. So it's really simple but really, really powerful, and it's making changes on that deepest level possible, the level where the problem's occurring, which is on the soul level, and you need something that little bit deeper. So the downloads in the course will kind of lay the foundations to support your soul through that process, and they'll support your physical body too. So there's two parts to it. You've got the actual text lessons, and then you've got the videos that are going to grant you the downloads to move through this better. So let's see what else here that I need to cover. So it'll bring stability, calm and structure to your awakening, but still keep that spiritual connection. And it's essentially the equivalent of 7 energy healing sessions with me. So you'll get 1 a day, and the course doesn't start till Monday. So just know that if you're purchasing the course and you're going for it, it doesn't actually start till Monday, and then the material's ready. Okay, so I'm going to have a couple of questions just before I go through an overview of this, because I spotted a couple of things coming up. Okay, and the 5-day course that's the freebie. So if you go onto the website, it's www.spiritualawakeningsigns.com. There's a 5-day grounding course there. It's completely free, and it's really just in-depth training like what we've come through in these last 3 days. It's in-depth training on, you know, the crucial mistakes to avoid, things that you can do to ground yourself, things to definitely not do to ground yourself, and just a little bit of some question and answer sessions that will help you to understand a bit more about that process. So if you haven't got it, sign up, because it's good to have that text available if ever you want to read back through it as well. You can keep the emails. So let's have a look. Melanie, many times I've held on to things so I just wouldn't float away or just wouldn't fall over. It's so uncomfortable. Melanie, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I thought I was a wee bit crazy when I was holding on to the dinner table, and certainly my mum wondered what I was up to. But it is hard when you know and you feel that sense in your body and you don't feel good, and you feel like you could kind of float away, or you feel like you could just disappear. It's quite a scary feeling. So and the thing is, it gives us a little bit of physical comfort to hold on to something, but it doesn't actually change, though it doesn't make the changes at the energetic level. It's just a kind of momentary comfort. You really need to change those things on that deeper level to train your energy into that space, so that it's not getting you into that position in the first place. It's not taking you to that space where you feel so ungrounded that you're actually afraid and feeling uncomfortable in yourself. So that's the plan, that's what we're doing here, and that's why I created it. So we'll do a little overview of the videos just so you know what's involved in each video and kind of the downloads that you're getting and what the benefit of those are. So before I recorded the videos, I actually tuned into the entire group, so that's why I keep bringing up this throat issue, because I know someone who's been on the videos has got a really bad throat issue. Their throat chakra's blocked, and I can actually feel a wee bit of a thyroid complaint as well. But I'm tuning into you guys because there are certain people that are in this that are going to be in the course. So what I did before I recorded all these videos was tuned into whoever was going to be on the course. So you can hold that intention to be connected to whoever's going to be in it. And as a result, I made a lot of changes to the course because I had set it out kind of with my conscious mind, with all the structure. And then when I tuned into you guys as a group, I was picking up on a lot of different things, and I felt it was important to follow that guidance and to bring in those extra things that I was guided to do. So you can have a listen. If it's meant for you, you'll know. You'll get a feeling and you'll know if it's right for you. So the first one is the free lesson. So please make use of this while it's here. You would be crazy not to. It's available till Sunday, and it's a really powerful lesson. So the first lesson is the freebie, and it's called Energy Grounding. You don't need to sign up, you don't need to fill in forms. On the page with the course, you can literally just click preview, and you'll be able to read all that text lesson and get the energy healing download video. So when you're watching these downloads, you can literally just completely relax. You can completely relax yourself, close your eyes, and just accept the changes that it's making. Now, it's taking you into a theta brainwave, so you won't probably feel physically any different, you'll just feel quite relaxed. But what it's really having the effect of doing is taking you into a space where you can rest and recuperate, because that's the brainwave responsible for that. Deep rest, deep recuperation and healing, and it's a good space to be in. And from there then we're doing all the downloads that are going to make those changes. So the first one is all about grounding, so we're talking about, you know, teaching your body how to be grounded, teaching your energy how to stay in your body, and giving your soul and energy system an understanding of how to naturally do that every single day, you know, so that you're sustaining that in your daily life. And yes, the preview video is on the website. I'm not sure if you're talking about the preview video or the 5-day course. The 5-day course is available on almost every page of the website. The grounding video is available on the course page, and I'll put a little link to that. So if you haven't used that one, please use it. It's available till Sunday. It's completely free of charge. There's no obligation. You don't need to go for the course. Even if you don't go for the course, use the video and get the benefit of it. Okay, let's see. Actually, I can just see a couple of comments coming up, so I'm going to answer these just now. Let's see. Nimesh, is that the right way to say your name, Nimesh? It could be your throat chakra. Don't worry, there's no apologies at all. It's actually good if I'm picking up on it, because it means that it's time for it to be healed. So you wouldn't be getting that message unless it was time for it to be healed. So it's important that if we're picking up on it, it's important that you get that message. And if you've already been told by 2 or 3 people, I would say that's a little hint from the universe to get moving on that one and get it resolved. Right, let's see what Jean's saying. She had the experience of wanting to go home starting at age 4, gosh, and again at 8 years old. So this is the interesting thing with this. So a lot of people have this very, very early on in their life. They know from a really early age. Some people are aware from like ages 2, 3, they just know that something's not right, and they have that higher awareness. It's actually incredible that we carry that with us, and it's amazing if you're still aware of that, because sometimes you can have it beaten out of you a little bit as you grow up, and people tell you not to be silly and question the way you feel, so don't ever let anyone do that. Now what I'm going to do is, I can see some comments coming up. I'm going to run through this material, and then what I'm going to do is make sure that I am connected to the comments on my laptop, because it's actually hard for me to see the video. Just to make sure that I can see all the comments that you're given, and so that I can be sure that I'm clearly answering them. So sit tight, and I will answer all the questions at the end. So if you have any, start thinking of them now, and I'll share them. That'll be great. Okay, so the other videos we've got, number 2 is focused on exhaustion. So spiritual awakening is exhausting. So that's really where we're focusing on releasing trauma. So releasing trauma from the tissues and the cells of the body, releasing the fight or flight response, because we carry all this trauma with us, and releasing obligations and responsibilities from other lifetimes. Could be this lifetime, could be other lifetimes, to bring that energy back into the system. Because like I said before about us being healers and psychics and guides before in other lifetimes, we have made a lot of promises. So you don't know how often I work with someone and we dig a little bit down into those belief systems and we find a belief that says, I must save the world. I vowed to save the world, or I vowed to save humanity. We put promises in there all over the place. And if you make a promise, an oath, a vow, a commitment in another lifetime, it still holds true now. And it's still governing your life. So it's really important that we get to clear those and release you from the obligation of saving everyone as part of your life mission. Doesn't mean that you can't help, and doesn't mean that you can't still follow the same soul mission, but it releases you from it being an obligation. It makes it a choice. And when it's a choice, it has a completely different energy to it, and it'll release a lot of exhaustion for you to get rid of that. It's really important. And also, when I went into this video, the interesting thing was, as I tuned into everyone for video 2, I picked up on a lot of kind of entities and waywards, and I really felt pressed to do a clearing for that. So in video 2, there's an entity and wayward clearing from you, your home, your space, the land, because I know a lot of people get a little bit frightened. And now I don't now, because I have a better understanding of it, but when I went through it, I was afraid when I picked up on things, and it was kind of spooky and you're not sure what to expect. So know that that can be completely cleared, and you can use that video as often as you need to completely clear that for you. Third one was broken soul healing. So as we go through shocking or dramatic lifetimes, we pick up devastation and trauma and all these awful feelings, and the soul continues to carry that trauma through lifetime after lifetime. So it's it kind of keeps us in a state of fight or flight. So if you've always been a really sensitive person and you've always been kind of jumpy, there's a good chance that you're carrying from other lifetimes, you know, all this trauma from other times, because we've had a lot of trauma in our lifetimes, and that's the stuff that we're transmuting now on earth, is getting past all these beliefs that life is a struggle and life is devastating and life is challenging and all these other awful things. We're starting to move through. So really important that we're actually clearing that. We're also resolving any rips or tears in your aura, and reconnecting all that. And I felt called to do a healing for the broken heart as well, because a lot of people that I was tuning into on this course had broken hearts. It was awful. So we did some healing there, and it was really hot. You know, my hands were heating up, and I started to kind of get a little bit of sweat. It's a really interesting video when you watch it, but I could really feel the depth of that healing. It was a powerful one. Number 4 is all about anxiety, and anxiety is a big deal for you guys. I know that a lot of you feel anxious almost all of the time, and I can totally relate. It's a horrible feeling when you feel that anxious feeling, and quite often with spiritual awakening you don't know why. You just don't know why you feel that way, but know that it can be changed. It doesn't have to be that way. So the anxiety video, we will discharge excess energy, we'll be calming the system, releasing fear, and teaching your system how to process all these new energies that are coming in, and show it how to stay grounded during all these full moons, during astrological changes, because they're the things that really throw you completely off. They were the things that really got to me. Every time there was a full moon, a new moon, some sort of shift, even if I didn't know about it, I would feel awful, and it would throw me off all over again. And that can be a hard one to ground when the environment that you're in, the energies have changed. It's really, really hard. So important to change that. Let's see, overwhelm, number 5, is how to handle and process that incoming energy, and how to live your human life. This is more of a focus on the human without overwhelm. So like I said before about if you've come from other levels and other dimensions, you came from somewhere different where, you know, emotions weren't really something that you understood or ever had to have before, then it can be really hard to understand emotions once you get down here. So that's really what that lesson's all about, is understanding human emotion and being able to understand and feel your own emotions without getting completely overwhelmed. Really vital. Number 6 is a fun one, so it's all about balancing those psychic skills and abilities, because quite often when you are going through awakening, they are wildly out of control. Now, like I said, grounding will help, but these downloads are the thing that's going to make just a few changes to kind of train your psychic senses to be automatically balanced for you, because it's not always necessary for you to be blasted wide open to have spiritual connection. I'm definitely not. I'm in a space where I'm pretty grounded now and still completely intuitive. I can still do my work, I can still meditate, I can do all these other things, but I'm not out of alignment. So you need to make sure that your energies are at a level that's comfortable for you. So we'll teach you how to teach your system how to manage and control your psychic skills, your energies, your abilities, how to use those skills while remaining grounded. And I also felt called to do a cleanse. So this was for your aura of psychic attacks, psychic hooks, curses, negative energy being placed against you. Because the interesting thing is, I don't come across that energy very often, but it must have been the energy of the group that we were in, that's a kind of common theme. And you tend to find that when you bring people together for some form of energy shifts, there's a theme about it. And that was definitely a theme there. So if you feel that that's been something that's going on in your life, there could be a reason why that was involved. So clearing all that out your system in video 6. And video 7 is about understanding the journey. So like I keep saying about, once you make that cognitive shift in your mind, everything starts to smooth out. When you don't understand the journey, you feel caught in anxiety and overwhelm and confusion. You feel lost and you don't know how to move forward. That's just because you don't understand the journey. So there's a big text lesson on understanding the stages of the journey, but the downloads that we're doing are all about granting your system and your consciousness an understanding of your personal journey. So the download that we do is personal to you, just to awaken your mind a little bit to understand it from a human perspective. And that was the download that, when I got it, changed everything for me. Because it's okay doing all these things and making all these changes, but if they're not from a human perspective, then the physical part of you isn't going to feel any difference at all. Okay, you can work on your soul all day long, but if it's not through a human perspective, then you're not going to feel the benefit of those changes. That's why we bring that in. And the lovely thing was that when I did that video, there was a channeled message came through from Spirit. And it was really special and really unexpected for me, because I was just doing my thing, bringing in the downloads, and almost kind of get interrupted with a message for the people in the course. So it was really special and really beautiful. So that's included as well. And by that point, all the foundations are done. So like I say, it's one video every day for 7 days. Now you can spread it out over longer than that. It's entirely up to you. You won't do any harm with what order that you do these in. But I would advise doing one a day for 7 days, and also allowing a sleep cycle every evening to allow your conscious mind to catch up, right? So bridging heaven and earth, letting the spiritual stuff go on, and then letting the physical body catch up that little bit. Really, really important. And then what I did was I included a bonus video. So this is a bit more fun, because spiritual awakening can be really intense and really exhausting, and it can be so serious. And I know that when I went through it, I was way too serious a person, and I lost my giggle and my sparkle completely. So it's nice to have that side of it that allows you to have some fun. So the bonus video, it was a last minute addition, because a lot of you were also telling me that you still wanted to have those spiritual interactions. You still wanted to meditate or to connect to your higher self, your guides, creator, but you wanted to do it in a way that was definitely safe. And also in a way that you knew you were grounded afterwards, so you felt okay when you were finished. It wasn't going to throw you completely out of alignment. So it's a 5-minute guided meditation, and you can use it as often as you like. So you use it to initiate that safe, clear connection with your guides, with creator, with your higher self, with your soulmates. You can use it as a doorway to connect to whoever or whatever you want. and know that it is completely and utterly safe. So we'll teach your soul how to clearly connect to the divine in a safe, protected way, and to get that higher guidance and insight, but also to do it in a way that you're still connected, but you're still grounded. So that's the theme. So just to clarify, I think I've covered everything. That was Grounded Awakenings. It's a 7-day video course. You do 1 video a day for 7 days, and it's just like an energy healing session. So it's the equivalent of 7 energy healing sessions with me, and a little fun one at the end that we added in. And you get a recorded video that you can relax to, you can watch, and you can watch as often as you like, but it only takes once to make the differences. So you can use them as long as you like, forever, lifetime access. And you can use those energetic downloads that are going to make the changes for you on the spiritual level, on the soul level, where those difficulties are occurring in the first place. So as part of it, like I said, it will ground you, release anxiety, release overwhelm and exhaustion, heal parts of the broken soul, balance psychic skills and abilities, calm sensitivity, and running out of breath, and emotional triggering as well. So it's going to make the whole process easier. And then we've got that little guided meditation at the end, which will kind of guide you up to Creator, to that space where you can have your connections, and then it guides you back down and completely grounds you when you're finished as well. So really useful thing to have. And thanks for your nice comments, guys. Thanks, Rashawn, really appreciate that. Okay, so just so you know, the course is about £94, which is about 122 US dollars. And we're open for enrolment when this video finishes, but remember the pre-order discount is only available till tonight at midnight. And that's midnight UK time, so you guys, it'll be like 8 o'clock for you if you're Eastern time. So just be aware of that. And the course is only available until Sunday because the class starts on Monday. Now you can take them at your own pace, but class starts Monday. So I purposely wanted to keep this a bit like a little college semester, so that we were all moving through the same stages at the same time, and so that I was able to really tune into the group intuitively and read what you guys needed specifically. So the videos are all tailored to whoever's actually going to be in the course. So we don't know physically just now, but energetically your energy is already there, and I'm already working on you. So changes are starting. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. So let's do the Q&A. So start thinking of some questions you want to ask, whether it's about spiritual awakening or the course or grounding, and we'll have a little look. I'm going to see if I can get into these messages in a way that, these little comments, excuse me a little second. If I can do it in this way, it'll be easier to see them all. Let's see if there's anything I'm missing. See, there's a little bit more that I missed on Jean's comment there. That's interesting. Jean's saying that she really didn't have a feeling of belonging from an early age, and that's a rough one, but it's really common, Jean. You're not alone in that. Really, really common that people feel that they want to go home, and especially when you go through awakening, there's such a strong pull and resonance to that energy of wherever it is that you come from, that you really do feel like you've finished here, you're like, I just want to go home. If I had the choice, I would. And it can take you to a bit of a dark place. It's not a suicidal feeling, it's just a feeling of I want to go home, and you know that this isn't your home, it's not your true home, and it can be really hard. So we're addressing some of that in the course, so that might be helpful to you. Let me just see what else. Oh, I'm seeing Melanie's had some problems seeing the videos. I hope it's caught up now. It looks okay to me, but I'll just keep going anyway. So Anne is saying she wakes up every morning with fear in her solar plexus, and she has to work so hard to get rid of it. That sounds like it's a sense of being ungrounded. So what could be happening, and this is what happened to me. I'm just picking up some stuff on your stomach and your solar plexus. We'll work with that as it's coming up. So yeah, what's probably happening is during the night you're having a lot of astral travel, and you're doing a lot of spiritual work even though you're not aware of it. So when you wake up in the morning, it's like you're already charged. So remember I said to you that any type of, spiritual practice or energetic work, healing work, will supercharge your energy. Well, this is the challenge. So if you're off doing things on a soul level at night, when you come back into your body in the morning, it feels like anxiety. It's not actually anxiety, it's actually that feeling of being charged, and the body perceives it like anxiety. It kind of feels the same to the body, and it has to make sense of it some way, and that's the only rational explanation it can come to. So it's probably a result of being highly charged. So I would maybe consider, I know that you've enrolled in the course already, so the course videos will absolutely help. So use them and take your time to move through them slowly. Do one video a day and allow your system time to catch up. But I would encourage that you maybe try doing some grounding before you go to bed. So look at maybe doing, I would actually encourage you to do the second half of the bonus video. So the very, very last video is the one that guides you up for spiritual connection and then back down. Use the second half of just the back down. So you just need to visualise it and sit there and receive the downloads, and that will ground your energy a bit better before you go to bed. Have you got crystals in your room? Is there something around your space? Picking up on something that's charging you in your room. Just make sure there's no crystals or anything in your room as well. Now, I'm at a point now where I can have them in my room. It doesn't affect me at all to have them in my space around where I'm working. But I feel like there's something in your room that's got a charge about it, and that won't be helping either. So have a look around for anything kind of spiritual or crystal. Might even be something in a drawer. Just have a little look and see if you can get that moving. Yeah, and it will have that energy about it, because worry comes from when your spiritual body's moving much faster than your physical body, and your physical body doesn't know how to catch up. It doesn't know how to process all these changes that are happening, and as a result of that, it kind of it makes your mind go round in a circle, and you fret and fret and fret because your brain's looking for a rational answer to the reason you feel this way, and there isn't a rational answer. So that's organite. Yeah, get that out of there, Anne. Nothing wrong with these things, they're absolutely fine, but take it out of the room. Make sure there's nothing else kind of like crystalline in nature or anything kind of spiritual in the room, and clear your room, open the windows, let the air in, let the energy out, and just see if that feels any better, because I feel like that might be what's causing the problem there as well, is it's charging you and you're not being able to relax. And I know you have trouble sleeping, so that won't be helping either, because if you're wired, your system's not going to calm down. So that's worth considering. Okay, has anyone got any more questions about absolutely anything? I'm happy to answer these, and I've got plenty of time. So what is on your little minds? What things are confusing you? And can you do Reiki to clear the room? Just feeling that out. Yes, I feel that you could, but don't do it with the crystal in the room. Move all the crystals and things out the room. Do the Reiki, just do a little bit, just do enough to clear it, and then break your state by going to do something else. Do something completely unrelated and come back to the room later. That's what I would say. Because it feels like you'd be okay in your body to do that, but the room, you need to get that organite and crystals and things out of there. I think that'll help. No problem. No problem at all. Right, let's see. Does anyone else have any questions? And then we'll finish up. You can ask about absolutely anything that's on your mind. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And there are no silly questions, because when I went through this I spent a long time scouring the internet with bizarre search terms. That's going to come back at me someday, but looking up answers to all this stuff. So if there's something you want to ask, I am here for you. We'll sit for just a little minute and let that finish. But yeah, just as a reminder, so the course is up now, but it's only going to be available at that special discount price until midnight tonight, UK time. And the course is only available to enrol in technically till Sunday, because we start Monday, and I wanted to keep all that energy really focused. So I'll put a link in the comments so that you can have a look at the page and do the free lesson. Even if you're not going for the course, do the free lesson and get the benefit of those downloads, because they will make a difference. They absolutely will. Let's see, so Rashawn's asking, is it just that we're more sensitive that these things affect us so much? Yes and no. So we are always going to be more sensitive beings, because we came here for the purpose of awakening. and we've been psychics and healers and guides and all these things before. So in a sense, we're born wired a little bit differently. We are a bit more sensitive. But when things are out of control, when they're too strong, and when they're in a state where it's an uncomfortable nuisance, then you're ungrounded. Because awakening shouldn't really be like that. That's just a result of not being able to bring density and balance out this influx of energy that's coming into your space. So if you can be more grounded, you'll find that that sensitivity really lessens off and it becomes much more manageable. You'll still have those empathic skills, and they're useful to have. Much like I'm talking to Anne and picking up on things in the space. I've still got total access to those skills, but I don't need to be at my absolute most heightened sensitivity in order to do that. I can be pretty grounded. And I don't know how I come across to you guys, but I'm pretty grounded. I'm pretty down to earth. With a little giggle. I'm pretty down to earth. So you can be and still pick up what you need to pick up for whatever job you want to do or whatever you choose, whatever path you choose to go down. But if you're feeling overly sensitive, ground. I'm going to be preaching about that for a long time, guys. So just master that lesson and get it down and things will be much better. Right, let's see. Okay, Nimesh. I hope that's the right way to say your name. Let's see, I can read it better over here. Can you pick entities or negative energies when doing Reiki healing? At the moment, I refrain from doing Reiki on others because I'm scared I'll pick up others' entities or negative energies. Or is it just my mind? I don't feel compelled to do Reiki healing on others currently, but not in a selfish way. That's totally understandable. So don't worry about that, because there's a natural tendency for you to withdraw when you're going through this process. It's on purpose. So your energies change and your sensitivities change so that you will withdraw away in and you'll come into yourself and you'll deal with your own stuff. There is a purpose to that, so don't feel that you're being selfish for knowing that you're not in the best space to offer healing to other people just now. This is your time to heal, okay? So don't feel bad about that. But as for entities and negative energies, you will be more open at the moment. So it depends on your perspective. Now, I came through years where I did healing on people and I never actually really picked up on entities or waywords or negative things because I don't really believe in them. So it's actually all about perspective. So I didn't really pick up on a lot of stuff like that because it just wasn't in my perception. Like we're talking about law of attraction, I just didn't come across it. But if you're going through some clearing and you're aware of that and you're a little bit fearful of that, then you're probably quite open. In fact, I can feel it right now. Your crown chakra is wide. It is wide open. Do you know what? Put a little message in the comments. Would it be okay for me to close that for you? Because I can do just a little second and just close that space because I feel that you're far too open and that might have something to do with it. But yeah, definitely if you can, I would say doing Reiki on others is okay, but just do a little bit and just see how you feel. And if you find it's ungrounding for you, I would avoid it completely. If in doubt, avoid it, and you can test it in little bits and see how you feel. It's possible you could pick up some energies, but it's important to be as clear as you possibly can. Right, so we'll do that for you. So everyone in the group is going to gain benefit from this because these things never come up by accident. So if Nimesh is struggling with this really open crown chakra, it's possible that the rest of you in the group are going through it too. So if you just relax and close your eyes, everyone. Okay. So asking Creator to first of all cleanse and clear those crown chakras for everyone in the group, everyone watching and everyone who ever will watch, so that they can receive benefit. And asking that crown chakra to be closed to an appropriate level that's healthy and balanced and grounded for you. And like I say again, everyone in the group is gaining benefit from this, so just relax and feel that sensation, because I can feel for a lot of you this is an issue. And I can also feel that that open crown gives some people a feeling like they're almost like they're on a boat, because I can feel it just now. It's like a kind of wavy feeling. So that's just because you're too open. So closing that now and sealing that energy for you. And grounding it into your body. That looks better. See how you feel after that, Nimesh? And feeling that, like I say, that part in the course has got the video with the entity clearing, the wayward clearing, and you can use that as often as you like. So even if you ran it nightly after your work, you could do that just to get those few downloads that are going to clear it out of your space, out of your home, out of the land that you live on, whatever it is, you'll be completely cleared. So that should help. Let's see what else there is. Okay, Anne is saying she's got a really strong rejection issues, especially if someone disagrees with her and she wants to run away and cry, and she feels so rejected. This is a soul issue. This feels like a broken soul issue. It feels to me like there's a broken soul issue going on there. But the rejection issues, that's probably a result of when we're going through the spiritual awakening, we've got a lot of ego issues. So you'll hear about people saying that the ego gets inflated, and we're trying to kind of deal with all our issues around ego so that we can let it go and be who we truly are. Because the ego is really all these programs and issues and upsets that aren't the truth. They're just old issues. So I would say that actually what's probably happening is that your ego is getting inflated. So all those old pains are getting inflated. All these old issues that you've had maybe throughout lifetimes of pains, times that you've been rejected and hurt. And when that is hitting against, when it's getting triggered, because the universe does that for you, when it's getting triggered by other people, it's hitting the ego, and the ego knows that you're getting rid of it. And it makes you want to cry, run away. Don't go into that space because you'll lose your ego, and the ego knows that it's going. So it feels like a negative thing, it's actually a positive thing, and it will clear. But just keep that focus on being as grounded as you can, and probably over the next few months I'll work on the next course, which will be all about dealing with the emotions and clearing the emotions and healing that, so that you're not having to deal with that all the time. But that will come. Okay, let's see, has anyone got anything else? I'll give you a few minutes more and then we'll finish up for today. It's been such a fab time. I love connecting with you guys. It's been great. I hope you can understand my Scottish accent. I was concerned about that. So we'll just see. I'll give you just a wee second more. Any questions, comments, anything you want to ask, pop it in the bottom, and then we'll finish up for today. Just see if anyone's got anything. No, I think that's us. I think that's us, guys. So, okay, one more. Rashawn saying extreme feelings of loneliness. Elaborate on that, Rashawn. Just tell me what you want to know about that. It's a common one. I know everyone here will definitely be relating to that. And I went through it too. And actually that's what spurred me to create Spiritual Awakening Signs, because when I went through my awakening, I spent most nights drenched in tears, wearing a Harry Potter onesie, that's another story, and scouring the internet for answers, and I couldn't find answers. And the more that I couldn't find answers, the more alone I felt, and the more that I couldn't tell people round about me what was going on, because I was so afraid that they would think I was crazy. The more alone you feel, and all these things keep bringing you back, but it's a purpose. It's designed to bring you back to you. So when you feel alone, it's actually like you keep hitting against things that it's like, I don't fit in there, and I don't fit in there, and I don't fit in there, and it eventually makes you turn inward, and that's the thing that creates this transformation within yourself. I see what you mean, Rashawn. So Rashawn's saying she used to be a comfortable loner. She used to be comfortable with that. But now that loneliness is really overpowering. So that's all that it is when you were comfortable as a loner, there was no direction for you. You were just comfortable and at ease with it. And now what's happening is that awareness that you're alone, it serves a purpose. So when you recognise that you're alone, you feel alone for a while, and you feel really lonely for a while, and it's really painful. And then what happens is that energy that was going outward and reaching out to that person and that group, and that relationship, once all those things don't fulfill that feeling of loneliness, you start to turn inward and you go somewhere completely different. And that's what creates that cataclysmic energy that transforms you from the inside out. So know that when you're feeling that loneliness, it's the last time you're ever going to feel that loneliness. This is the last time you're going to deal with these issues, because it's lifetimes worth of issues. And once you deal with them this time, they are not coming back. They're not coming back. You're going to be in alignment with your true divine self, and all these other feelings, they're going to be gone. There will still be challenges in life. Life's still life. We're still here living on earth. But those patterns that you just can't get over, and those challenges that you just can't get past, they will be gone. So know that even though it hurts to go through them, they're clearing and they're getting better. Okay? Right, let me see. Jean. Oh, you're welcome, Jean. She says she feels comfortable with the sessions. Regarding my accent, she loves it. That's so nice, thank you. Her grandparents came to Canada in 1812 from Ayrshire. Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, we're everywhere as Scots. I was in Ayrshire just about maybe a month ago staying. It was a friend's birthday, and we went to Ayrshire and stayed in this really big old kind of log cabin. Absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely place, and you should visit. You should visit, definitely. Let's see what else. Anne, you have so much wisdom, Kelly, and a truly beautiful, special soul. Oh, so glad to have you in my life. Thank you, Anne. That's so sweet of you. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you too, because you've been a fantastic support. You've always been there, so thank you to you too. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you guys, and it means a lot to be able to answer the questions, because I've had these questions too, and I know how you feel. And you're not alone. You are so not alone on this journey. I know you feel alone, and I know you might look around and your life looks alone, but just by the fact that we're having these videos and being united in the groups and all these other things that we're doing, just know there is no way that you're alone. And even though you maybe can't see or feel or sense them all the time, the spirit world is 100% backing you on this journey. Your soul family have got your back, and they're going to step back until you move through all your stuff, and then you'll be able to resonate that bit more deeply. So it's all just part of the process. So be gentle with yourselves, and thank you for joining us today, and I hope I've answered everything that you wanted. And if there's anything else, still pop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer. And thank you very much for joining us. See you soon. Bye.